In the following shows, Vince continued to demean, Trish by having her do such acts as bark like a dog around the ring and stripping down to her lingerie. And despite all the humiliation placed on by her by Vince McMahon, Trish Stratus, remained a loyal ride or die bitch, as she stayed by Vince McMahon's side throughout everything, and even begged Vince McMahon for her forgiveness, for his forgiveness. Now, on the March 12th episode of Raw's War, Shane McMahon made his return to WWF, and he pissed off his father because his father thought, pissed off, angry with his father for having an affair with, Trish Stratus. Shane punched his dad, but was stopped by William Regal. And then Shane McMahon explained his actions on SmackDown as a result of frustrations over the manipulation of his sister, his mother being a comatose, and Vince McMahon just treating Trish any way he just feels like it. So on March 23rd, WCW went out on March 23rd, 2001. WCW went out of business, and Vince McMahon was announced that he bought WCW. But the problem was that Shane McMahon beat him to it, as it was announced on March 26th that Shane McMahon had bought WCW, as Shane McMahon was live on Monday Night Nitro, and in the speech, Vince announced that Sign was not final, that he wanted Ted Turner to come to WrestleMania and hand deliver the contract for signing. So he wanted Ted Turner to sign the contract live at WrestleMania, and then he promised that with the purchase he was going to bury his rival forever. However, like I said, Shane McMahon beat him to it by signing the contract and buying WCW himself. And so Shane McMahon said that, look, the deal is finalized with WCW, and the name on the contract does say McMahon. However, the contract reads Shane McMahon. That's right, I now own WCW. And Dad, just like WCW did in the past, how it kicked your ass in the past, it will again. And that's exactly what's going to happen to you this Sunday at WrestleMania. Now, Shane really didn't try to kick Vince McMahon's ass. He tried to take over his company, did that shitty ass, invasion storyline, which I hated so much. To make matters worse for Vince McMahon, Mick Foley appeared shortly afterwards, later on that night, and announced that prior to his firing, Linda had made multiple contracts for him to sign. One of them was for Foley to referee a match of his choice at WrestleMania, and Mick Foley announced that he was going to be the special guest referee for the Vince and Shane match at WrestleMania. So that was the background for WrestleMania 17. So WrestleMania 2017 kicked off with Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho defending his title against the new WWF Commissioner William Regal, who took over for Mick Foley. And so during the match, William Regal exposed one of the top turnbuckles and threw Chris Jericho onto it. And then shortly afterwards, William Regal executed a double underhook suplex on Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho attempted a Walls of Jericho submission on William Regal, but William Regal was able to reverse it into the Regal stretch. And after Chris Jericho managed to grab the rope to break the hold, he retaliated with numerous chops and then also threw Regal into the exposed turnbuckle. And then Chris Jericho finally got the win after hitting the Lion Salt on William Regal to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Now the next match was between the APA. It was actually a six-man tag team match. You had Taz teaming up with the APA, Bradshaw and Farouk, to take on the Right to Censor, which was the Goodfather, Val Venus, and Bull Buchanan. Now the Right to Censor, to me, that Right to Censor, they were a group that were they were out to censor everything. They're very PC, very liberal, and they wanted to censor everything. To me, the Right to Censor is actually ahead of its time, because to me, the Right to Censor storyline would have been perfect with today's day and age. While because in today's day and age, everything's so over the top PC, it's just ridiculous. And in 2001, it worked. Everybody hated them, but I think it would have worked even more today than it did back then. But anyway, the APA and Taz got the win after Bradshaw pinned the Goodfather after hitting him with the clothesline from hell. So next up, you had the Triple Threat Hardcore title match for the Hardcore Championship. as Raven defended his hardcore championship against Big Show and Kane. So though this match was a hectic match, all three wrestlers fought their way out of the ring into the backstage area through the crowd. Big Show tried to lock himself, Raven, and the referee into a security cage, but Kane broke the padlock and afterwards threw Raven through a glass window. And then Big Show and Kane continued to brawl, ending with the two throwing each other through a wall. Then Raven tried to escape by driving off a golf cart, and then Big Show stopped him, and Kane shortly followed with another golf cart, and accompanied by the referee, and ran over Raven. So the fight headed back into the stadium, with Big Show attempting to body press Raven off the injury stage, but both are knocked off by Kane, and Kane followed this with a diving leg drop off the stage and pinned Big Show as Kane became the new WWF Hardcore Champion. So the next match at WrestleMania was for the European Championship, as Test defended his European title against Eddie Guerrero. So Guerrero ducked an attack from Test, sending him over the top rope. Then as Test went over, his foot was caught in between two ropes, leaving Eddie Guerrero and the referee having to pull Test out with the help of his fellow Radical members Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko. Then Eddie Guerrero was able to pin Test to become the new European champion after hitting him with the European title. So the next match was between Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. And this match, started out with the two wrestlers, pretty much, trying to feel each other out, back and forth. Then Angle punched Chris Benoit out of frustration and threw him out of the ring. And then outside, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle threw Chris Benoit to the announce table. Kurt Angle threw Chris Benoit to the announce table and then onto the steel steps. Then back inside the ring, the wrestlers tried to make each other submit. Chris Benoit trying to ankle lock on Kurt Angle, and then Kurt Angle tried to crippler crossface on Chris Benoit. And Benoit eventually succeeded by forcing Angle to tap out to the crippler crossface, but the referee was knocked out. So Chris Benoit did not win the match because the referee did not see it. Then after a near fall at the end of the match, Chris Benoit tried to pin Angle after a diving headbutt, but was met with a 2 count as Kurt Angle was able to break out. Then Kurt Angle was able to roll up Chris Benoit to get the win as he used Chris Benoit's tights for leverage and won the match. So Kurt Angle cheated and beat Chris Benoit. So next match you had Chyna take on Ivory for the Women's Championship. And Chyna won that match after hitting the press drop on Ivory. As Chyna, I think, Chyna became the new Women's Champion. So the next fight, you had the street fight between Vince McMahon taking on his son Shane McMahon. So Shane McMahon dominated his father throughout the match with attacks involving the kendo stick. He had Vince McMahon with the monitor from the Spanish announce table, and then Vince laying on the table. Shane climbed back into the ring and attempted a diving elbow drop off the top rope, but his sister Stephanie moved Vince off the table, and Shane crashed to the table. And Stratus came towards the ring, pushing Linda McMahon in a wheelchair. And Vince tried to embrace Trish, but she slapped Vince. In retaliation, Stephanie got into the fight with Trish, and that led them out of the stadium. Then with Linda alone, Vince approached her to the ire of guest referee Mick Foley. As Mick Foley attempted to wheel Linda out of the arena, out of safety, I should say, Vince replied with a chair shot to Mick Foley's head. And so Vince dragged Linda into the ring, placing her on her chair, and Vince forced Linda to watch Vince beat up her own son with garbage cans. Then Linda, however, just stood up out of nowhere and kicked Vince in the balls, and the Mick Foley got back up and attacked Vince McMahon. And with Vince prone to the corner, Shane puts the garbage can in front of Vince's face and hit the coast-to-coast drop kick onto Vince McMahon, which is one of the greatest athletic feats I've ever seen. And I never even knew Shane was that damn athletic, but he hit it, and he hit Vince McMahon right in the face with that drop kick and got the win. And Shane McMahon beat his dad and won the match. So the next match for WrestleMania 17, which is one of the greatest tag team matches I've ever seen, was a TLC 2. Obviously, TLC 1 happened at SummerSlam. And this was a legendary fight between Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys taking on the WWF Tag Team Champions, the Dudley Boys, the tag team titles. So I'm about to play the match and give you commentary on the match as it's going on.
You think you know me, you At a combined weight of 462 pounds, Christian It was in October of 1999 and No Mercy.
All right, so here comes Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian. Christian probably one of the most underrated wrestlers, man. I mean, he's a pretty good wrestler in his own right, and he never really got the singles opportunity that Edge got. Even though Christian, most of his singles opportunities though did happen in TNA. He was a TNA champion for quite a while before making his return to the WWE. On the table, man, you see all them ladders, all them chairs, man. It was a hell of a match, man. You gotta admire these wrestlers too, man, putting their bodies on the line like that. So here come the Dudley Boys, man. This is after, I think this is after, Bubba Ray was able to fix his stuttering problem, because remember for the longest time, Bubba used to stutter all the time, and all of a sudden, man, he just stopped stuttering. I think The Rock slapped him one time. He just stopped stuttering. Or either that, maybe he went to a grammar school and he took some speech classes to help with that stuttering.
Here, folks, is real simple. Somehow, some way, you get a ladder, you climb it, you retrieve those tag team title belts with your hands.
All right, so here we go. We're about to start the match. You have Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys are looking at the roof, man. Look at that belt. The two tag team belts, man, just hanging off, above the ring. Hardy Boys don't look like your stereotypical, early 2000s punk rockers, man.